Welcome to the Open Mic Broadcast Network. I am the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. As we get ready for another episode, we want to remind you that we are the station designed with you in mind. It is our mission to try to bring you some news you can use. Today is no exception to the rule. You can follow me on Twitter at The Mike Prince Show. The YouTube channel is the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Our 24-hour website with the stream is obnradio.com. And just in case you have one of those smart devices, all you have to do is say, hey, play the latest episode of The Mike Prince Show. And just like that, you'll have everything that you need. And with all that being established, let us jump into today's episode. We now have a national baseball champion in the world of the NCAA. The LSU Tigers victorious over Florida by the score of 18-4. The final two games did not really accent what this entire World Series was about. Excellent games played from A to X, but Y and Z, a little bit to be desired, but overall they still were compelling matches. So the LSU Tigers, and forget that they're actually Louisiana State University, but we've been known to call them LSU all this time. They are the 2023 champions, and they will be celebrating until the sun goes down and come back up and go back down a couple more times. They were already taken over in Omaha, Nebraska, but no doubt about it, they are the undisputed champs for 2023. Now, when you look at all of this and you're wondering, well, why are we talking about this SEC giants and these big boys playing? Because in the landscape of baseball, as we've always tried to highlight here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network, there is still enough room at the table for the small guys. Now, the small guys might not have the budgets, it might not have all the athletes, but they do have a fighter's chance, unlike in football, and in some cases, unlike in basketball. But baseball, softball, are one of those sports that you can wiggle here and wiggle there to finally make a dent in the road. Now, we do know that not so long ago, the Southern University Jags had major upset win over the LSU Tigers. It kind of shook the baseball world upside down. We know what Alabama State has done. We know what FAMU has done. We know what Bethune-Cookman has done. We know what can be done if the stars are lined up right, if the wind is blowing in the right direction more often than you could on the football field, which is why I am so encouraged and I want to continue to push the envelope for all Southwestern Athletic Conference programs to invest a pinch more in baseball. Is it something that seems impossible? Not really. Now, you have to be creative, as I've been mentioning all the time. We can't do things traditionally the way things have been done, but you can get creative, think outside the box, come up with some unique formulas for your unique situation to try and make things happen. Now, we have to position ourselves on the field as well as off the field. We know what we have to bring to the table when it comes to the educational piece. For the most part, up and down, I have no dispute with that. I think we're all doing a very good job. Of course, there's always room for improvement on every aspect, but for the most part, we're doing a good job in providing our student athletes with that quality education. Now, for the game experience to be enhanced, there are a couple of things that we can do, even if it's going to create a somewhat bumpy road. And of course, the number one thing is addressing how we schedule our games. If we're going to schedule the D1 programs to be in the mix and want to get that respect at the backside of things, so we won't have programs like Alabama State being left out, winning 41 regular season games, playing a top-notch schedule, but because of its counterparts, we're left on the outside looking in. I know we are a one-bid program or one bid conference, but we can have an opportunity for teams that are having quality win seasons such as they have to be considered strongly, and I do emphasize on strongly, for an at-large bid. Now, how we structure that, as we mentioned, there are some creative ways. There are some programs up north that wouldn't mind coming to Texas, that wouldn't mind coming to Alabama even to play, Louisiana to play in the early parts of the season. Somewhat of an inside advantage being the host team. You can get these guys early before they get acclimated to whatever level they're on, and you play. And if you get them early and they happen to have a pretty decent season, guess what? That's a feather in your cap when it comes to RPI. But nonetheless, it's something that's going to have to want to be embraced, and it's something that administrative staffs are going to have to understand that this will be a new realm process, that we have to allow them time to grow into that and continue to improve the quality of play on the diamond. And as you continue to move forward in the season, there should be enough quality D1 programs that could help enhance your program's overall blueprint within a 200, 300-mile radius of wherever you are throughout the conference. If you just kind of get a map and look from the north, east, south, and west, you should be able to put together a very comprehensive schedule to make this a reality. But once again, these are going to have to be things that are willingly embraced. I'm going to focus primarily on Texas just for this presentation yet again. There are over 1,700 high school baseball programs within the state of Texas. 1,700. All of them can't be on the Power 5 rosters, just not enough room. All of them are not going to leave the state of Texas. We've got to get them on our rosters. And whatever it's going to take, be it us for showing up at more baseball showcases, hosting baseball camps, and inviting tons and tons of guys to come out. They get to check out your facility. You get an in-depth look at the on-field talent up close and personal to see if this is a person that would fit your program. And once they get acclimated on your campus, see the styles that you guys are looking for, then I think we can get a bit closer to that. Now, on the football side of things, they just had a mega camp with Coach Bubba McDowell not long ago. Maybe you can partner up with some other programs and have a mega camp. We can get a chance to look at everybody. I know that in the case of Prairie View, the facilities are there. The opportunity is there to make something like this become a reality. And of course that we know that the most precious commodity that one could ever get is pitching. And it's no matter how much pitching you have, you never have enough pitching. Now, when I say pitching, I'm not talking about a guy who can throw hard. I'm just talking about a guy who understands pitching situations and can pitch them way or their way out of certain scenarios and circumstances. Not necessarily how hard you throw, is how smart you throw, how to set up batters, how to use your defense, how to get ahead on the pitch count and keep the ball in play. One thing that is always reminded, you are not going to be able to strike everyone out. In fact, I would prefer a guy who can keep the ball in play, keep it down in the park, keep my defense active and ready, than getting a bunch of strikeouts. Because when you got a guy who's throwing hard or even getting a bunch of strikeouts, it sometimes dulls their defense and makes them create errors when they're not sharp on their feet. So there's a double way of looking at this thing, but get guys who can throw. And let me be honest and quite frank with you. You can have a very reputable pitching staff with guys who can throw anywhere between 80 and 91, 92 miles an hour. I strongly believe that. Now, for the basics of young pitchers coming up and even pitchers that are somewhat developed, you got a few pitches that complement one another, and every pitcher can be complementing their fastball with a quality changeup. You can then add the arsenal of a good curveball or slider, if not both, but I think you should have a minimum of 3 pitches. Learn how to be precise with that pitching and create the opportunities for your defense to help support you and make the necessary plays. Now, I know this may sound like I'm fussing, but I'm not fussing. I'm really just laying out a blueprint of how things can get done. And I might hear someone saying right now, well, Prince, how do you know that's not what we're trying to do right now? And I'm not saying that you're not trying to do it, but I'm just letting those who might not be fully in tune to the world of baseball on how things can get done. I am a strong advocate, and I believe that if you don't have a guy who can carry you 5 to 7, if not a complete game, you got pitching by committee. Get 2 or 3 guys, put them together, and treat them as one pitcher. Know the insides, the outsides, the strengths and the weaknesses of those particular pitchers, and know which scenario to bring them in. One of my proven theories that has worked, it even worked in this College World Series and worked in other games in times past. You have a pitch count for each pitcher. Allow them to get to that count, no more, no less, and once they get everything accomplished, you send them on down the road. Another rule of thought, in a perfect world, if you were to go through the lineup at least one time per pitcher, if it was the perfect storm, by the 3rd, 4th inning, that pitcher is being swapped out. Here comes the new pitcher. And you could make it somewhat of a patchwork, if you would, to get this thing done. Now, when we hear the term patchwork, it sounds somewhat like a makeshift, undesirable situation. But that is not necessarily the case at all times. You can have what is called controlled chaos to create these 3-armed or 4-armed monsters to get things done. These are the little subtle things that you can do to enhance the opportunities of creating a solid D1 program. I keep looking across the board. Of course, we saw what Wake Forest did. We saw what Oral Roberts had done. And even look at the likes of a D2 program playing in the D1 circuit, Dallas Baptist. It can be done. It should be done. And I'm looking forward to us getting it done. So to the original thought, what does Florida and LSU have to do with my beloved Prairie View A&M University Panthers, with my beloved Southwestern Athletic Conference? Everything. Stop looking at what they have and what we don't have. Let's maximize, optimize what's available to us, and let's get her done. I am the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. Thank you guys so much for joining in with us. We're going to be talking more about these baseball games in the very near future. We got a couple of special guests lined up to come and chop it up baseball style as we get ready for the football campaign for 2023. Do want to remind you guys about the PV 500. The PV 500, we're looking for 500 individuals who would commit to $100 to help support Prairie View athletics. And for September 1st, mark your calendar for our Listening Partner Drive campaign from September 1st to September 30th, where we ask all of those who can and would support the Open Mic Broadcast Network with your annual $60 donation. Don't forget you can follow me on Twitter at The Mike Prince Show. Subscribe to the YouTube channel at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. And be sure to visit our website with the 24-hour stream at obnradio.com. I've got the exit stage left. My time is far spent. So until the next time, you guys be blessed, and we'll see you on the other side.